Welcome back. It's your boy, Edwardo Jackson, CEO, founder, creator of the great Cinema Draft game, here to extend a warm welcome to our first-time pod virgin, and of all things Belgium, entertainment enthusiast extraordinaire, and there is the first time my video goes out today. Get used to it. So annoying. We're almost past you, Zoom, damn it. WebEx, I'm coming for you.
Is WebEx better?
WebEx, it's different. We're working on it. Anyways, she's here. The woman I call my pop culture tether. It's the one. It's the only. Katherine Sarah Klagsbrun or Brun?
Brun.
Brun.
It's a hard name.
Yes. Up KSK, welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. Tonight's Andy Cohen inspired Watch What Happens live style drinking game tonight shall be the word Euro. Every time you hear one of us say this word, take a sip of what you're sipping, because tonight's pod will cover our favorite movies taking place in the wonderfully diverse continent of Europe. AKA the continent. Do they call it the continent over there, Katherine?
I believe so, yeah.
All right. And you know, I'm going to call you KSK because that's how I know you from our entertainment Slack group. Do you have any other nicknames, anything you feel comfortable with tonight?
No, that's fine. That works.
KSK? All right. The notorious KSK. All right,
Yeah.
So, and apparently you've told me off camera that you've taken this very seriously, but with the global coronavirus pandemic, hashtag #DatRona, forcing us all to stay home, the social contract is on fire. Damn it, I just want to hear something good. Tell me something good, Katherine.
This is a tough one. I mean, what is there? I mean, like many people, not going anywhere. I've gotten very into gardening, which is very low stakes.
Oh, okay.
But we got some good things
what
happening.
are you planting? What are you gardening?
Well, we have a lot of things growing. So far, we're getting some tomatoes, some cucumbers, some kohlrabi, radishes, herbs, you know.
Real food you can use. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty basic.
All right, so gardening is something good. All right, I'll take that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are turning to this now. I don't know. What about you?
What, gardening? No. As far as something good, I don't know.
See, it's hard.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I will say I am plowing through season 3 of The Wire. That's good. Actually, you know what? I'm jumping ahead of myself. We'll get to that in a second. Oh, I finished Outlander. That was good.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard mixed takes on that.
So you never watched Outlander?
No, I mean, what I've heard has been sort of mixed, so I wasn't really sure if it was for me.
You know what? I mean, it's intense. I mean, it definitely is intense, but I think you like it. Well, actually, I'm not sure. I mean, we are pop culture tethers, not necessarily emotional tethers, but I found it deeply romantic. I loved it. It's very, I mean, and like I say, it's very intense, a little too gory for my taste at times, but you know what? It's good. It's up there. I really enjoyed it. And I had a coach too. I had our girl Stevie, aka Steph Lover, in the Slack. She was kind of like my Outlander coach. Yeah, she was dozing on my Scottish and my eyes and laddies and lassies. So yeah, it was great.
You can enjoy anything else if like someone is in on it with you and someone to talk to about it. You
know, I agree. And actually, I've been saying too that I will rewatch Outlander the next time. Fingers crossed. I have a girlfriend because that is quite an emotional journey to take on with someone else. So I totally agree. So our next segment, one of my favorite segments, it is what we're watching. Yes, I am air horn heavy here. And I'm going to share my screen because one of the things I like to do is to show you all what I am watching. And I did allude to it. It is an oldie but goodie. And it is, of course, the best show ever on television. Yes, I'm saying definitively. I'm not sure if you agree. You probably should agree if you truly are my pop culture tether. But yes, it is The Wire. It is excellent. I'm in season 3, which is my favorite season. And I restarted this is my 6th rewatch, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. You know, you have to do it for, I think the last time I did for a woman I was dating, the time before that was for the ex-girlfriend, you know, so every time you want to bring someone along with you. I did once with my mom. I did a couple on GP. I mean, it's, as they would say, it's a rich text. But it's, I really enjoyed it, especially season 3. Really good stuff. McNulty's just totally McNultying. Have you seen The Wire?
I hesitate to say that I have not, but I'm looking forward to doing it with the podcast, the Ringer podcast.
Oh, so are you going to wait till they're all the way done and just kind of plow through it? Or because they're right now they're just starting season 3.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to get there.
Oh, come on, Tez. Come on, Tether. Get with me, Tether. Oh, it's so good. And trust me, I will be here for you. Yeah. I will be here for you when you go through like some particularly interesting episodes. Actually, every season has some really like standout episodes, but I will be here for you, Tether, to unload, ask questions, to be like, what the fuck? I mean, I'll be here.
Yeah, it's actually crazy because I like Idris Elba and everything else I've seen him in, so it's kind of weird that I've skipped this one, but it's also kind of nice to have things still ahead of you, like that you haven't seen yet. So,
and that would technically be something good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, and so I was going to ask you what your favorite, Wire season is, but of course doesn't apply. So I will speak quickly on mine, which is season 3, because of the whole I'm a political animal, and season 3 is about politics. As we learned, starting pretty much with season 2, each season The Wire took on a subject matter. First season was essentially setting up the world of The Wire, so you could essentially say it was about crime. Season 2 was about the ports and I guess international trade. Season 3 is politics. Season 4 is education, and often referred to as everyone's favorite seasons. It's quite the heartbreaker. And season 5, which everyone ranks last, is about the media, which I think it's a great season. But it's I always call this urban Shakespeare. It's it's the best series of our time. I came close to wavering in doing a rewatch of Breaking Bad with Almost Significant Other, but it does hold the crown. It's just so good. So many great actors in this, and it's wild that Idris Elba outside of The Wire, because most of us stateside were acquainted with him as Stringer Bell, and I literally did not have any idea he was British until years past The Wire. So
you haven't seen Luther?
No, I have, but that was years after The Wire. Like, I think about 3 or 4 years after The Wire. That's when I found out that, oh my God, he's like a real Brit, because he pulls off Stringer Bell so well. So,
Is it different watching it now that there's like such a different conversation about police going on?
Great question. A little bit, but even when we were watching it in 2002, because this isn't what, as the popular phrase is now, this isn't what I would call propaganda. Like, they do show you both sides. They show you the first season especially is devoted to cops and robbers, like showing the cops and then the Barksdale crew with the drug game. But I mean, these cops are fuck ups. They drive drunk. They cheat on their wives. They cheat on their taxes. They cheat on the job. They filing bullshit overtime. I mean, they're not role models by any sense. They're really totally well-rounded, flawed humans, and you're rooting for them in so much as the plot demands it, but then you're as much rooting for the criminals, because these are really smart criminals. I mean, introduced the term burner phone to our lexicon back in the early aughts. I mean, this is love it. The Wire
teaches you the wrong things, maybe.
yeah, exactly right. They brought us up real fast back in the early aughts. So when you're ready, please let me know. I might even do a rewatch alongside with you, just to that emotional tether support that
Yeah.
All right, and so just for those who are wondering, my Wire season ranking goes 3, 4, 1, 2, 5. Fight me, holla at me, whatever. That's the way it goes. All right, and then from our DraftStream game from a few weeks ago, I've gotten to Brave New World. It is something else. Are you familiar with this show, KSK?
So I have not started watching this either yet, but I did read the book, so I'm kind of interested to check it out. I haven't ventured too much into the Peacock world yet.
Oh, is it one of those books in that nicely Room Raider setup behind you over there?
No, I don't think it is, but I read it a long time ago.
Need a plant. No.
Yeah.
No, it looks good.
It's one of those ones you read either in high school or college or like around there, somewhere along the way. And it's a fascinating story, so I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of interested to see how it deviates the book. I personally did not read it in high school. I mean, I missed a lot of classics. I remember someone in college who, from the South, actually looked at me crazy when I told them I hadn't read I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. They're like, "Oh, I feel bad for your upbringing." I'm like, I don't know. But I mean, I missed that. I think I missed Catcher in the Rye. There are a few ones we missed, but we got like Milton and Canterbury Tales and crap like that. But we did not get to Brave New World. But so far, I'm enjoying it. I think I'm 6 episodes in. It is wild. Peacock laying its nuts on the table. It is wild. I mean, it's great. It's very sexual, I guess. So tell me if this is the same in the book. So the basic concept is that it's this future utopia where, mankind as we know it has been relegated to like the hinterlands. We're known as savages with all of our, normal, humanity, whatever. And then there's like this bubble city, bubbly civilization called New London, where there's only 3 main rules. It's like there's no violence, everyone needs to be happy all the time, and you cannot be monogamous. Like you have to be like sexually free or something. Is that similar to the book?
Yeah, I remember mostly the stuff that people are like always being drugged to always be happy all the time and always be entertained. And I feel like that part, I feel like has a lot of relevance to our culture now, that you're always distracted, always entertained by stuff. I don't remember the non-monogamy, but I did read it a while ago. I feel like a lot of these new streaming services also want to lean into that to like make it clear we're not NBC anymore. This is not network TV.
No, that's an excellent point. And honestly, I mean, in Stars, well, I'm not saying Stars, but
you can say Stars. It's okay.
No, I like Stars. P-Valley, y'all know I love P Valley. Renewed for a 2nd season, baby. That's right. It's not so much Stars, but I think a lot of these, especially the newer fledgling streaming services. I remember even with Netflix introduced House of Cards and stuff. A lot of gratuitous nudity, a lot of cussing and stuff. Outlander, a lot of nudity, a lot of they grab your attention. From the jump. And that's one thing that Brave New World definitely has. Starts off within like 5 minutes an orgy or something. So
that's like the HBO pilot model of there's tons of sex in the first episode. Then it's a totally normal show, not about that, but they've got you.
Yeah. And actually Outlander starts somewhat similarly, and you kind of get, well, I mean, as you can see by like seasons 4 and 5, like I get it, the characters are supposed to be older, but still it's like the nudity drops down, sexuality drops down. Yeah,
Yeah, because the actors get better contracts and they're not doing that anymore.
That too, exactly. But this, I mean, I'm not so sure how integral the plot this is, but I do find it fascinating that this set up utopia. And like you said, they are all drugged all the time. There's this clicking of this dispenser. You hear all the time, click, 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 click. It's almost like its own avatar for things getting too heavy. I need to drug myself. Click, click. That happens like ubiquitously throughout the series. But and Harry Lloyd, just the consummate, white male fuckboy. He's back up to his old tricks. I don't know if you saw Counterpart on Stars, but he was using that. Also playing, morally questionable, Jack Hole. He's doing the same Harry Lloyd shtick here. Wasn't he also in the Harry Potter playing like a bit of a dick?
Probably.
Anyways, he's in it.
I like how people get a niche like that.
Well, I mean, hey, keep getting them checks, right? I mean, that's either a bad agent or a great agent,
Yeah.
Jessica Brown Findlay, aka Lady Sybil from Downton Abbey.
Yeah, I'm glad to see her in something else. She was so great on that show, and then she kind of disappeared.
Yeah, no, she's great on the show. A lot of odds and ends in the show. Demi Moore is in there for some episodes. I mean, and Alden Ehrenreich. I mean, yeah. Let me talk about Alden Ehrenreich for a second. I think it's a bad rap. I mean, people killed him because of Solo, and I'm on record. I don't care. I loved Solo. I saw it 3 times in the theater. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's a good time. I think I watched it. another 2 times at home. Fuck what you heard. I love me some Solo. And he's perfectly charismatic. He's got, decent leading man looks, lantern jaw, whatever. He's got also this weird relatability, I guess. I don't know, like the way he does some line readings, deliveries. I just kind of like, you kind of feel like you know the guy. I don't know. Do you have any stand pro or con against Alden Ehrenreich?
Well, I was all in on him like everyone else when I saw Hail Caesar, where he has like a couple of great scenes where he just like steals the whole movie basically. Then I heard that people didn't like the Solo movie. I ended up liking it, but I just saw it on streaming sort of after the fact, so not 3 times in theaters. But I mean, I think this is solid.
Was that a shot, Tez? I felt that.
No, I was jealousy. I mean, none of us are seeing anything in theaters now, so it's all
True.
in a haze of remember that time. But I mean, I think that he's good. People are very fickle about, they think you're going to be the biggest new thing, then they're kind of disappointed, so you're crap. And I mean, hopefully he'll find the right roles. Hopefully this will help him.
Yeah, fair enough. No, and I like him fine. He's I don't know. I think it's a bad rap. I doubt we will see another Solo. I'll live with that. But I do hear we're getting a Lando.
Yeah.
Donald Glover coming back as Lando.
Yeah.
Punch it.
All right. I hope that's good. I hope it's a good use of his time.
And I also hope that we just get back to production. We had on a few weeks ago, as part of the tripod, our boy Kevin A. Garnett, not the basketball player. He is what we call WBW, our working black writer in Hollywood. One of the rare unicorns we find out in the world. He just got a new job. Congrats, shout out to him. But I was asking him, both on and off the air, I'm like, what's going on with all these, deals and stuff? It's like every, few days you hear someone signing on, like some actor signing on for this project. Definitely writers are getting, projects are getting paid. He's been writing nonstop throughout the pandemic because that's something you definitely do at home with Zoom calls. I was like, so you got all these deals lined up, like planes waiting to land. Like, what's going to happen to production, like in like a year or something, when everyone is going to probably go back to somewhat business as usual? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the case for a lot of industries. There can be a lot of stuff that's worked out now. Like they might be writing shows that they never end up producing because they're just trying to get what they can for the future. But
and honestly, that would be the first time. I mean, very few claims to fame, but the one of the few projects I was able to sell in my time on the fringe of Hollywood, like 12 years ago, I mean, went through development hell, never got produced. We rewrote the shit out of it like 20 different times. Never got produced. So I don't hope that fate for everyone else. These seem to be pretty high profile deals, but and some of them sound legitimately interesting, but there's only gonna be so much studio space, right?
Yeah. Well, at least they're investing in the writing process. That's better than nothing. I mean,
and the WGA getting that new deal approved, solidarity. Keep getting them checks, writers. So anyway, so what are you watching, KSK?
So I'm watching a show I believe you watched. I'm still finishing The Great on Hulu.
Yay! What do you think?
It was a little bit slow for me to get into it, but now I'm really liking it. I think that they try and cram a lot of story into like the first episodes. You're kind of lost, but it picks up when you start to really feel for the characters and they humanize them more. They do a little bit like what they did on Succession, where they're horrible characters in the first episode and they're kind of not as crazy as it goes on, since you couldn't maintain that for a story. But it does a lot of interesting things. I like the sort of colorblind casting of the sort of tertiary characters.
Yeah, kind of like Mary Queen of Scots. Did you ever see that in theaters?
Yeah, is that the one with Saoirse Ronan and Margot Robbie? Yeah. Yeah, it's a good concept. I mean, they don't do it for like the main characters who you know are white Russians. But at first I was like, I guess Russia's more diverse than I thought. And then I sort of figured it out. It took me a while. But I like it. It's a good way to sort of mix things up. And they get a lot of good sort of character actors in there.
And honestly, it's kind of like anything that brings elements, like some of the freer elements of the theater to the screen. I don't necessarily mind. Like, we all saw the Hamilton, although that truly was just like a stage play being, cast out as a movie. But anything that kind of brings that type of thing where it really doesn't affect the plot, really. I mean, it doesn't. The characters just have great actors. It's fine. It's not like they're doing like Selma with a colorblind cast. I mean,
I bet someone has pitched that. You should hold on to that idea.
110%. Someone's already pitched that, and it didn't look like me. I promise you.
You know who could play Martin Luther King Jr. is Julia Roberts.
Well, actually, Meryl Streep. I would give Meryl Streep a pass on anything. Anything. Yes, Julia Roberts is a daughter of the South from Smyrna, Georgia, suburb of Atlanta. But I'd like to see Meryl as Martin Luther King. Shit. Who was the actor who played? It was Cate Blanchett, right? Who played Bob Dylan, right?
Yeah, that was great.
I never saw that one, but I heard she was great in it. So I don't know. Get crazy, but don't get too crazy.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully some of these pitches die where they should.
Yeah, exactly, right. All right, so that's the great. What else are you watching?
I'm watching on HBO, I May Destroy You. Are you watching that?
Am I? I mean, that one.
I feel like everyone's talking about it, but then maybe it's only people I know. So
I think it's a bit of a niche conversation because, I mean, for better or worse, the way I kind of gauge what's going on in the cultural zeitgeist is Twitter to an extent. Because, I mean, Black Twitter is a thing. It's very, and they definitely get active on some stuff. And I don't really see a lot of people talking about it. It barely trends on the days it airs. But for those who do know, I think the conversation's been robust. What do you like about it?
I like.
Or do you like it?
I do like it. It's kind of complicated. I feel like a lot of the reviews are just glowing, like talking about how it's so well done, or so like such a new perspective, quote unquote. And for a lot of people I know who are watching it, it's like actually a really difficult watch. It's kind of challenging and upsetting at times, which doesn't always get conveyed in the reviews. So if you're going to check it out, all the content warnings apply. But
now you think that's because a lot of these reviewers are male, white men, maybe?
I mean, it's possible. I don't know.
I haven't read too many. It's not so much like casting aspersions, it's just that they definitely bring a perspective. Like they're not going to, they're statistically at lower risk of sexual assault or issues of consent, and they're usually the ones perpetrating them. And so, they're going to probably approach with a different lens. My black cis hetero-ness, whatever, approach it with a different lens, whatever, to the extent of like even the episode last night. Did you watch the one last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole thing where he, spoiler alert, whatever, people, it's my podcast, deal with it. Even with the issue of Kwame kind of, duping this girl and sleeping with him, even though he's gay, and then kind of popping on like, yeah, I'm gay. I mean, that's not only was it uncool. I mean, but she was kind of shitty, to begin with. It's like, it's the situation. There are no heroes here. I mean, I don't know. What do you think of that scenario?
Well, yeah, it's interesting because it shows how like these characters who have been victims of mistreatment or assault or varying degrees of consent being broken or violated are also kind of committing similar things.
Hurt people.
Someone's house when they're yeah, exactly. But I mean, breaking into someone's house or lying to someone like Kwame did is, I mean, it's on a smaller scale, but it shows that there's like many gradients to these things. So I like that the show isn't trying to like moralize about, this is the victim and everything they do is perfect, kind of, which is sort of an older style you would have seen maybe 10 years ago.
No, that's an excellent point, and it's very messy, and I kind of like that. I mean, everything's messy. The friendships, the relationships. I mean, like they love each other, like the central three: Kwame, Terry, and Arabella. But I mean, it's messy. It's like it's constant. I mean, it's kind of like life to an extent. I mean, everyone can't be in perfect pop culture sync like we are. But
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It ebbs and flows. Like there are days where you hate your best friend, the days when you love your best friend, whatever. It goes up and down, and also the fact that they're all dealing with some sort of like something, but they're going about it in, honestly, kind of. I mean, it's not a very straight line like you see in most plots. It's just all very diffuse. Like her memories of her assault, to the way she reacts to it, to decisions she makes. I mean, it's kind of why I remember there was like, I think through episode 3, maybe it was through episode 2, I was just like kind of shaking myself, like, why are you making these decisions? This is really, and then it was around episode 3 or 4. I'm like, okay, I get it. It's not traditional. It's also not supposed to be linear, and life isn't linear like that. So
yeah, it's really showing more of sort of life, how people live it, not as like a plot, plot point to plot point.
Life as people live. KSK dropping the pearls of wisdom. I love it. You get air for that, baby. All right, so we are moving on to our topic of the podcast. We are doing top 5 European-based movies. And the way the game works on this podcast, for those of you who are new, is you name a movie that takes place primarily in Europe. We alternate picks. Once someone picks that movie, it is out of play, and you must choose something else. As the guest, Kiska, you may go first.
Are you starting with your number 1 or with your number 5?
Well, that's part of the game, so it's not even so much like a ranking, because at any point I can snake one of your choices. So, a little bit of game theory. We're game theory enthusiasts here at Cinema Draft, so you have to kind of figure out, if you think this is popular, it might take it, you might as well just, unload the clip right now.
All right, so I would say first, This is kind of cheating because it's a trilogy, but I can pick one. So the Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight trilogy by Richard Linklater.
You took all three. My God.
Okay,
Fine,
I can
fine.
pick just one. I can pick just the second one, Before Sunset. I feel like is my favorite of the three.
Okay, I agree. And damn it, you're playing the game, KSK. You got it right, Katherine. All right, so Before Sunset, expound.
So the whole trilogy is really interesting to me because it's sort of like Richard Linklater has done this time-lapse kind of project also with Boyhood that came out a couple years ago. This was the first one like that. The first movie came out in 95, then the second one 9 years later, the third one 9 years after that, for those who haven't seen it. And it's about a couple who meets randomly on a train. They spend one night getting to know each other. And then the second movie, which is my favorite one, Before Sunset, they meet again after 9 years apart. And so they're sort of talking about where they've gotten in their life in the years they've had apart, and sort of how
the first movie was kind of like a soulful, I mean, not quite one night stand, if you kind of, right?
Right.
Like it's been an entire night just kind of talking and getting to know each other.
Yeah, sort of getting to know each other, finding all these ways that their perspectives connect or their experiences are different. He's from America, she's from France, obviously. And so the second one I really like because it shows in some ways their disillusion with things that they were very optimistic about in the past. In other ways, like their experiences have surprised them and gone in ways they wouldn't have expected. So I feel like it's a really interesting sort of character study and sort of a commentary on aging and people trying to find romance when they haven't been feeling it in their regular lives. And it's all sort of in this setting of they're just walking around Paris. So it's a little bit of like a European postcard of, you know, all the sites that they walk by. And it's a little bit cheesy. I don't usually love that, but it kind of works because there's so much substance to the conversations and these characters that are really like well developed.
Well, that's an excellent pick, and since you did spoil the trilogy, I'll give it to you. It's fine, whatever. But yes,
I apologize.
I think I did like Before Sunset the best, but I do have a lot of affection for Before Sunrise because, I mean, I don't know about your personal life, whatever. We're only pop culture, but I've had weird experiences, almost kind of like, and I think you've lived in New York before, New York City, where you have like one of those great nights that kind of leads into thing to thing to thing, which is very New York City style, whatever. I've had like a night like that where you meet someone and you just kind of keep talking, get to know them, and kind of went our separate ways. I mean, one of them actually turned out to become my best friend for a while, which is kind of cool. But I mean, I do love the kind of sheer cinematic romanticism of all that type of stuff, where it's very rare, but it's still possible. It's not like they're falling in love in space or something. This is like it's very grounded, super low budget, low tech type of deal that can actually happen. I love it, and you're right. It's like a love letter to Paris and whatnot.
Yeah, and it is. They are all kind of, maybe the last one less so, but they're all so low budget and like two actors essentially, and it really shows. It's one of those movies that show just how much you can do with good writing. Like you don't need a lot of extra stuff. If you have a good script, it can be extremely simple.
Good writing and chemistry,
yeah,
absolutely. All right, so great pick. Great to take that off the board. So I'm gonna hurt you deeply.
Okay.
You may know where I'm going. I'm taking this one off the board for sure. And it's Call Me by Your Name.
Oh.
Was it on your list?
It was not on my top 5. It was on my longer list of options.
Oh, okay. Well, and for full disclosure, Katherine here, our dear Kat Kiska.
You're going to share some kind of personal secret of mine?
Well, no. Well, yeah, I mean, how many do I actually know that aren't like pop culture related? But no, just that you lived in Europe for a while,
right.
and you're definitely going to have a better grasp of European-based movies, or at least a more refined sense of Europe-based movies than I might. But yeah, so you lived in where was it? Was it Italy or?
Yeah, so I lived in Italy. I was teaching English there. Then I taught in Germany for a while, and I lived in Spain. I was a student there, so a little bit of everywhere.
Oh, we're fancy now. You went with the Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, it sounds very glamorous, but living on minimum wage in Europe is not as glamorous as you would think.
Yeah, but I bet you had healthcare. Anyways,
That
so
is true.
calling by your name. I mean, it's the Travelogue of Italy. I mean, everyone loved this. I went and saw this. Actually, I remember taking the draft mom to see this, and
Hmm.
it was good. I mean, I didn't love it as much as other people loved it, but I really did like it. It's definitely. I mean, it felt kind of like just an easy breezy, travelogue of Italy. It's the Italian, countryside. So many bikes.
Yeah.
So much biking. So,
And I
beautiful.
remember people complaining about the biking, like, oh, there's these long scenes where they're just biking through the countryside. That's the point. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, I was fine with that because it was pretty. I mean, it had a decent score, if I do recall. I mean, and we can get into another movie, which I'm pretty sure you're probably going to name later on. But some movies, honestly, to me, really do need a score to kind of accentuate the beauty that's going on. You can't just always have still silence, no matter how beautiful it is. But this really kind of worked for me. I mean, everyone's throwing 100 Timothée Chalamet,
Yeah.
doing this thing. I mean, super charismatic and stuff. Like you get it. You get it.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
my
great
pick.
movie.
That's my
It's
pick.
great.
Anything to add to it, or you want to go on to number 2?
I mean, it's the most basic comment you can ever have about these kinds of movies is that the book goes a lot more into like the psychology of the characters. But actually, the movie does its own thing of adding another layer. So it's not one of these adaptations where you think, oh, it's not quite as good. It's like it adds something that a book could never capture with the aesthetics and the chemistry between the people, and you can really feel like their humanity in a way that is pretty rare in movies that characters are that fully developed.
Yeah. I mean that's another thing that I miss pre-pandemic. I guess is reading. Too stressed
Yeah.
out to read. I can't focus. Are
Yeah.
you reading anything these days? Quick cultural
I'm
focus back into
rereading.
college or anything?
I'm rereading some books that I have. I have books that I read every summer, more or less, that are kind of easy. I might reread this book, Call Me by Your Name. We'll see.
See,
Nothing too
everyone,
deep.
those 20 books in that bookshelf right there, those are the only books she has.
Yeah. There's actually a new Zadie Smith book out today that I want to get, so I'll be trying to read that.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, girl. All right. So what's your next film?
All right, next one. Let's see. I would say Marie Antoinette by Sofia Coppola.
Now I can't remember in this because I saw it in the theaters and then just that one time. Did she actually say "Let them eat cake" in this movie?
So she says it in the context of like there's a clip of her saying it, and then you see her as the character saying, "I would never say that. Where do they even get that?" So it's kind of a commentary of these, huge historical quotes are often made up after the fact by someone. So it kind of addresses it in a sort of tongue-in-cheek way.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fun movie. Well, what are your thoughts on it?
So I rewatched it the other day when I was trying to narrow down my top movies, and it really actually has a lot of the DNA that you see now in The Great, in that it's like a historical movie about a well-known figure, but with a sort of irreverent sense of humor. And I don't know if it like originated this type of new style of history.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tom Hardy's in there.
Oh shit!
For like
Not
a
Tom
second.
Hardy.
It's also, fun fact, the first movie of Jamie Dornan, who plays one of her love interests.
Wow. Sorry to go all bug-eyed on y'all. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's his first IMDb entry.
Rose Burnt. Wow, we were so young.
There's a great cast, a lot of like supporting characters that are very funny. Jason Schwartzman plays the king, who's like such a doofus, and Kirsten Dunst, obviously. Molly Shannon from SNL plays one of the sort of bitchy court ladies, So like that's something else you see in The Great, sort of these tropes of like these horrible people she has to be friends with, but it really gets more into the absurdity of what actually being this queen would be like. So, I mean, she wakes up and there's 50 people in her bedroom watching her get dressed, that kind of thing. And the thing that's great about it is it got a lot of like attention for using pop culture music from now and all this stuff. But it also like kind of shows you what really being alive at that time would be, and gives you it has like a slow pace that lets you think about, I mean, especially like in the moment now, people are thinking a lot about social justice. It really lets you think about like, how bad of a person was this? Did she deserve what happened to her? How much control did she even have over what she was doing, as opposed to just being in a system? It kind of, I mean, to me, it made me think a lot, despite just being like obviously a very beautiful, stylish, and like fun movie.
Yeah, the costumes were off the chain of this, but I mean, leave it to you, my Tether, the deeper half of our connection, to break down the social justice of it all.
Yeah.
Damn it, you're absolutely right. And Kirsten Dunst did a great job. I believe she was nominated for an Oscar for this, wasn't she?
I mean, she should have been if she wasn't. I do not remember, but
Interesting. All right,
yeah,
maybe not.
she was great. She should be in more stuff. I mean, I think you watched her on that Showtime show last year, right?
Yes, how to be a god in Central Florida.
Yeah. I'm glad you remember the title because I did not.
Did you watch it? Did you watch that first season?
Yeah, she's really great. It's like a really interesting story. She's good in everything. She should be in more stuff.
Yeah,
she's on my very long list of actresses that should be in everything.
I think she took time off to have a kid with Jesse Plemons, but yeah, she was great in it, and it's just, I mean, it was a great pilot, and it got kind of weird in the middle and towards the end, but I enjoyed it throughout. I'm curious to see where it's going to go next season. All right, well, great pick. Did not see that one coming. Once again,
it's worth a rewatch if you haven't seen it since it came out.
Think so? All right, well, I'll add to the list. Frequently on this show, I don't know if you've seen any previous episodes, but we'll cover a lot of stuff. I'm like, shit, I should see that. I should watch that. The only reason why I didn't start watching Highlander is because I had Cinema Draft podcast all-time guest starring Jay Devlin. He suggested I watch Highlander. It's not good. I mean, it's super 80s. I get it, but I'm like halfway through it. I don't know if I'll finish. It's not great. But I started watching Highlander because of that. So you know, you never know. I might check it out. If my
I'm the same as you. That I have a list of like 100 things that I've promised people I'd watch or read or whatever. So it's impossible. It's not happening.
Well, move the wire up on that one. That's like,
I will.
You know, that's especially with the circles we run in online. I mean, you know, it's. Yeah, I mean, I want to hear your social justice takes on Omar Little, for real. Okay, so continuing to play the game, I want to take another one off the board that might be in your purview. Actually, you probably didn't even see this, but in the off chance you did, because it's a fairly recent one. I'm taking Eurovision.
I did see this.
Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga. So much fun.
Yeah, this was great.
Highlights the little covered country of Iceland, and not only in the bad ways of economic collapse. I actually like the little jabs they made early on to the allusions to the fact they wrecked their economy in this whole Eurovision thing. But yeah, it's great. It's a comedy. I had very low expectations going in. As a matter of fact, the only reason why I watched it was because it was in our talent pool that week with Cinema Draft, and I started seeing like the ratings it was getting, and then one of our power players in the group chat, we have a public group chat that we all discuss films and stuff and general strategy. Ring balls. He said that he saw it and liked it, and I'm like, well, shit, if Ring Balls liked it, I'll give it 30 minutes. This was my original 30-minute film, and next thing I know, it's 40 minutes, and I'm hooked. The elves, Rachel McAdams on one. I mean, Rachel McAdams is delightful. She always commits. She always shows up. It never feels like she's above the material. She always comes to play. My God, come on. I mean, yeah, the dress, the costumes. I mean, Will Ferrell, even though he's ostensibly the star or co-star, this is really Rachel McAdams' movie. Like, she's having so much fun. I love her. The two coffees, both for me. I mean, so many cutesy little things. Very memeable, gifable. I love this movie.
It was great. I also had sort of low expectations, and I mean, it is what it is. It's like Will Ferrell movies have a kind of formula that they follow. I don't see that as a bad thing. Sometimes that's like exactly what you want, Yeah,
you don't ask John Grisham to start writing like social justice, treatise or something. I mean, no, you want to write legal thrillers. Let's do it.
Exactly. And he's really good in that he like lets her shine. He lets the other characters shine. It doesn't have to be like all about him, even though he's kind of the engine that keeps the thing going. I don't know, it's just like a really fun. The songs are also like legitimately good. You start listening to them like this is a joke, this is so funny. Then the next day you're like humming them to yourself.
I have Husavik, like her closing songs, sung by some great Icelandic, or actually I'm not sure Icelandic, some Scandinavian singer in real life. I have Husavik in my 25 playlist. He plays just my top 25 songs at any one time, and it's in there. It ain't
Yeah.
going anywhere either. That's a great
It's
song.
good.
Yeah. Eurovision, that's my number 2. What you got?
Okay, so let's see what else I have. Okay, my next movie is In Bruges. Have you seen this one?
Oh, well played. I like that one. I have seen this one. It's very quirky. Colin Farrell kind of playing against type for him back then. I mean, yeah, go for it. Tell us about In Bruges.
Yeah, so this is Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson play like these hitmen who Colin Farrell had like his first hit job and it went sort of awry that a bystander got shot. So they're told to go wait in Bruges in Belgium for 2 weeks to sort of like see how things settle. And it plays really well with the setting, this like small sort of medieval city with these little canals, because it's like it's supposed to be so ideal, like a little fairy tale town, but for Colin Farrell it's like absolute torture. It's like he's in hell. So they have like a really irreverent kind of sense of humor. It's by the guy who made 7 Psychopaths, Martin McDonagh. So it's like a very particular kind of sense of humor, and it kind of gets into some kind of ethical code that these hitmen supposedly have. And it's just like very funny. Ralph Fiennes plays their boss who shows up. I mean, not to spoil the plot, things obviously go awry. They're not just hanging out in the city for 2 weeks. But it's a really fun movie. It really holds up. It's got some interesting character actors that are in it.
That's right. Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I saw it in the theaters, I guess back in 2008. I enjoyed it. Haven't seen it since, but yeah, it's a good pick. I liked everyone involved, and well, as we've noted in our intro, you are a well-noted Belgium enthusiast.
I don't know about that.
Where did that joke even get started? Quick cultural cul-de-sac. Where did that joke even get started about?
It got started by correcting someone that French fries were actually invented in Belgium, and many other amazing things that we know and love were invented in Belgium, like the waffles and the Smurfs, for example.
The Smurfs are Belgian?
Oh, absolutely. Wow. They're Schtroumpf.
Okay.
So I just like have a lot of random knowledge, and that sort of became its own joke.
All right, well played, well done.
It also is a beautiful city if you ever have a chance to visit Bruges.
Is it? Okay. All right, so let's do real quick. Kat's top 5. Do people call you Kat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like Kat with the K for you. But KSK, Kat, whatever, Tether. All right, our top 5. My Tether's top 5 European cities. Go.
Oh my God. I'd say Rome is probably number 1.
Okay.
Barcelona.
Okay.
San Sebastian is like a small city in Spain that I really like. Paris and maybe Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Okay. Is it because of the canals, the general freedom of everything, or what made you like Amsterdam? I've never been to any of those cities, obviously. But what actually made the list?
I mean, I am the cliche that like I went there and I actually did go to the museums, which is kind of a joke of what people say they went there for. But it is really beautiful. There's like a lot to see. A lot of culture is really interesting. People are really nice. Food is good. It's kind of a city that you can walk around in, which I like. I don't like when you have to sort of be traveling all over the place.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, once we relaunch Cinema Draft, once the money starts pouring in, once I actually have my freedom again, I'm gonna go everywhere. I'm going to Amsterdam.
Yeah, you have to go at least once in life.
Sounds like it. All right, I dig that. Thanks for indulging us on the spot too with your quick European travelogue. Oh yeah, so what's your? Oh, sorry, you did your third one, I guess. This is your third one. All right, so my third one will be Notting Hill. Set in London. Julia Roberts. American movie star playing a version of herself
for the first time, not the last time.
Right? Exactly. Ocean 12, another great European movie. I guess you're free to take. So I mean, she falls in love with a normal bookshop owner, Hugh Grant, and I've been meaning to rewatch this, but you know what? I kind of don't want to. There goes my video. Of course, I will endeavor to fix that. This is also another movie that I really want to watch with like a girlfriend or someone you're dating, someone, I mean, it's kind of romantic. It's the whole, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her or whatever. I mean, come on, that's like Jerry Maguire level, like, you had me at hello type shit, right? So I mean, it's great, and she has a great line when they're on top of the roof, and I mean, I've only seen it like maybe 3 or 4 times, but this is how memorable these lines are. They're on top of the roof, and she's talking about like the drawbacks of fame and how and the old, I guess, some sort of, was it Rita Hayworth line that people, or along the line or something, people go to bed with with a movie star and wakes up to her. And I was like, I mean, to me, in 1999, I don't know, it was like 20 something. That was kind of profound. So
yeah.
So I really like this film. I like her in it. Look at that great big Julia Roberts smile.
I know. It's been so long since we've seen that.
I mean, she's just chilling. She, does one season of Homecoming, then retires to her New Mexico ranch, right? I mean, she's chilling.
Can't blame her.
Yeah, she's made her money. She's good, I guess.
Yeah, she was my absolute favorite actress, like, growing up in the 90s. She had so many, like, such a string of great movies. My Best Friend's Wedding, classic.
And then how much of a tether are we? Whereas she's your absolute favorite actress, and Denzel Washington's my absolute favorite actor of all time, period. And of course, they're in a movie together.
Yeah.
Not so great. Not as great as the book, but The Pelican Brief, in which they would not let them kiss, which was just fucking ridiculous.
Aren't they teaming up for something else again? I think I just read that.
They are, and I'm very excited for it. I can't remember what it is, but they are coming back.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it. Yeah. So Notting Hill's my pick. And also, I mean, it does a decent job of covering a little bit of London, that section of London. I've never been to London. I assume you've been to London?
I have been to London, yeah.
Did not make the list, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of good places, can I say?
I feel like an honorary Londoner these days because I just fallen for the BBC Brit Fishant model of all these shows. It's like 6 hitters, just like 6 episodes and out. Sometimes there'll be a second series, aka season or not. Sometimes they'll take 2-3 years between them or whatever. It's just I love those shows because you get deeply invested. The storytelling's always top notch. No time is wasted. You feel like you've gone through like a normal 13 episode series, whatever, in 6 episodes. And I love me some accents. And once upon a time, I had a pretty decent English accent, and now I don't. So I won't model it.
Did you see Feel Free? That was my favorite one of those this year.
Yes, I did see that. That the stand-up comedian who was not really funny, but that her whole relationship was really good. Oh, no, did you like her stand-up comedy? I thought it was just kind of okay.
Well, I mean, all these shows where they show a comedian, they kind of intentionally do bad comedy, I feel like. Maybe that's too generous, I don't know. But, like, they can't show them giving, an award-winning type set in these empty comedy clubs. That's always the sort of suspension of disbelief with a show about a comedian.
Was it Feel Free? Charming. What was it called? Who was the star of that?
Mae Martin, M-A-E Martin.
M.A. Martin. That's right, Mae Martin. Yeah. I think she's like a comedian on the rise of some sort. Wow, they can't even find Mae Martin.
I think it was Feel Free. It was something else. It's not a great title because it seems kind of
generic,
meaningless. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, these are her titles, I guess. She's like a person.
Yeah.
Mae Martin. Yeah. We go on to cultural cul-de-sacs all the time in this podcast.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. Welcome. You are officially a Cinedraft friend of the pod. Okay. Yeah.
Feel good. I was close. Yeah. So it's on Netflix. It's like 6 episodes.
Very Brit-Fishant. Charlotte Ritchie. I really liked her.
Yeah, she was great.
She was great. Yeah. I want to see more stuff she's in. Now I think about it. She was great.
Lisa Kudrow as her mother, just randomly showing up halfway through.
Lisa Kudrow, but yeah, she's becoming really good at the expert cameo. I mean, especially when shows that really don't use her very well, like Space Force. I don't know how far you got in Space Force. I tapped out after I think 7, but I
got through 1.
Fair enough. Life's too short.
It is. Quarantine may be long, but life is short.
Yeah, and we have way too many, with 530 productions a year pre-pandemic going on in Hollywood. So yeah, we got options, y'all. We got options. Yeah. All right, so that was my third one. What's your fourth one, Kiska?
Okay, my fourth one is another movie by Luca Guadagnino, who did Call Me By Your Name. It's called A Bigger Splash. I don't know if you would have seen this. It's wasn't
I have heard of this one.
biggest.
I do not think I've seen this.
So it's got a great cast. It has Tilda Swinton, Ray Fiennes, Matthias Schoenaerts, and Dakota Johnson. It's kind of like this group of four. That Tilda Swinton is this rock star, sort of like a David Bowie type rock star, who's recovering from vocal surgery, so she can't speak for much of the movie. Oh. And her whole performance is basically just physical. Like it's amazing how you can really read just from her expression what she's thinking. And her boyfriend Matthias Schoenaerts' character, like they have such a great communication. And then Ray Fiennes' character comes in as like a sort of old boyfriend. He comes in like a hurricane, kind of huge amount of energy. You learn about all their complicated backstories, the tension between the characters. It's kind of like a emotional thriller, psychological thriller kind of a thing. Dakota Johnson is pretty good. She plays Ray Fiennes' daughter.
Where's it set?
It's set in this this island off of Italy that's like sort of between Italy and Africa, and they sort of weave in the African migrant crisis that's sort of been an issue in Europe for like the last 5-10 years in an interesting way. It's kind of in the backdrop, like the edges of the story.
Oh, that's a great shot.
Yeah. It's very stylish. It has costumes I think were created by Dior for the Tilda Swinton character. It's just like a really good character study, that the dynamics between these people and the tension, the arguments, and sort of figuring out who these people really are. It's really good.
And Luca Guadagnino, did I say that right? I didn't say.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it right. Luca, the guy's got talent. He's coming soon with, I believe, is it a HBO show?
Yeah, I think it's HBO.
Yeah, I think it's going to pick up after I May Destroy You ends, so I think it's coming like September, something like that. So that should be very interesting. Also looks like it's set in Europe, very lush and kind of exotic, so I look forward to that. Yeah, he's a good visual stylist. That's a very interesting pick. Yeah. I like it. Bigger Splash. Okay, another one for the list.
Yeah, it's very fun. I don't think I've ever seen Tilda Swinton like have more fun in a role. She's usually kind of serious and mysterious, but she's just like having a blast doing this.
Okay, fair enough. I did kind of want to snake this one from you, but in all honesty, I don't think I liked it enough to really do it. So if you don't mention it, I'll mention it at the end with honorable mentions. I'm just throwing that out there. Deep tease. Instead, I'll go with something that's a little more basic. I mean, pretty much every other one of these movies could be this in this franchise. It's Casino Royale, aka James Bond, aka Daniel Craig's debut as James Bond.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a globetrotter. He goes everywhere, but there is a significant setting in a casino in Europe. You know, the card game and everything. I mean, it's very, I loved it because it definitely introduced us to a different type of Bond. Not just that he was blonde or anything, but
that's the whole change.
Yeah, exactly, right. People were upset about that. I was like, seriously, that's what y'all want to get upset about? Well,
we're definitely not ready for Idris Elba if people are still talking about he's got blonde hair and blue eyes.
I mean, see, Kat, don't play with my emotions. I mean, he would be great even now. I think
no, he would be.
He's only 48, but I know they're probably going to go younger, and he's probably aged out because they kept dicking around with it so long. But man, he'd be so good in that role. And actually, honestly, even his spiritual successor, bring John Boyega. John Boyega would bring a lot of fun to that role, straight up. I'd probably even be good with Daniel. What's his name? Get Out. Kaluuya, thank you. Why blanking? And not just that, I'm naming every random Black British actor. No, trust me. Thanks to Netflix and my recent Brit fishing craze, I know a lot of young Black actors in Britain now. But someone like even Dan Kaluuya, like just how menacing and interesting, charismatic he was in Widows. A very small part. I just thought that he can do anything. Between that and Get Out, I saw the range. Like he can do anything. So anyways, Bond is cool, the same, tropes, guns, girls, glory, whatever. But I liked how they wove in, me personally, poker, especially back in 2006. I was very much starting to feel poker. Online poker was booming. I knew all the lingo they're talking about. I knew why that was a good play. That was a good play. and it's very, very, jet setty. And, it was just kind of all over the place. I really enjoyed it.
Do you think that the poker playing in the movie was well done? Because I always wonder about this from people who really understand, like if it's just they're trying to make it look fancy or if it is actually impressively done.
I think the cinematography was well done. The play itself was okay. Like the whole premise behind that major scene with the guy with the weeping eye and stuff. That was Mads Mikkelsen, and that was an introduction to me to Mads Mikkelsen. I was not much aware of his work before. I thought the way they filmed it was really did amp up, like really did kind of give you the emotional stakes of being in a big hand. And I've never been in a hand for that much money or anything, but there's been stakes that were to me relative to me big, and that I feel that did a really good job of putting you in there. So yeah. Yeah, it's the actual poker playing stuff was kind of okay. I mean, if you talk to any professional poker player, and for those who aren't aware, I did somewhat small stint as small-time professional poker player, mostly online between 2011 to 2017. Blah blah blah, and I still dabble here and there. But basically, you ask any professional poker player, they're like, yeah, you probably could have been better. But it's to us the creme de la creme of all poker movies will always be Rounders, even though in that movie, there's some very nitpicky poker things where you could say, like, he's playing Johnny Chan with only 10 big blinds. It's insane. Some stuff doesn't make sense, but yeah. But yeah,
it's tough in these movies because they have to make it simple enough that someone who doesn't know anything about poker can follow, like, what the tension is.
Yeah, exactly. I thought they did a really good job with that. And it's just super stylish and cool. And, Jeffrey Wright is like his M, and well, not M. Who was Jeffrey? Q? No.
Oh, I'm not sure.
No, he played like Felix Leiter. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He played as Felix. That was pretty cool. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a really fun one. I mean, I like all of the new ones, but that's like probably one of the most fun ones, just in terms of the settings and the characters. It's the first one with him, so you kind of don't know how it's going to go with his love story. That there is sort of a moment of optimism. They go off to Venice for a really romantic vacation.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because the globetrottiness, if this isn't Europe enough for you, then I highly recommend Skyfall. I did rewatch that a few months ago. Scottish Highlands at the end, that shit was bonkers.
Yeah. I have to admit, I personally left off things in England just to like narrow it down for myself, but also technically they decided not to be European, so screw them.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, so when I was writing the rundown, which it appears you actually read, so kudos to you. Once again, you're invited back anytime. So many people do not read the rundown when they get on the show. I honestly thought, well, maybe we should exclude Britain, not because of what you said, although very valid, fuck you, Boris Johnson and the Brexiters, but also because, I mean, we could do, and we probably will in the future, do an entire show just on top 5 British movies or top 5 English movies. Yeah. We recently had top 5 Scottish movies in honor of next week's guest, a returning guest, my boy Marty from Glasgow, Scotland. Aye, laddie. Aye, Gadgie. The Gadgie's back in the house next week. You can easily do top 5s of those, but yeah, I almost excluded Britain, but I didn't want to pen you in on your first time on the podcast. We want to have you back, so but yeah, fuck them.
It made it actually easier for me to only look at ones that were not there because there's so many great British movies that it's like throws the whole thing off.
Fair enough. All right, so what's your next movie, Kiska?
All right, my last movie I feel like is the one you were probably making fun of prior to this. So it's Man from U.N.C.L.E. by Guy Ritchie.
Oh, no, but thanks for reminding me because I did give you shit about that.
Yeah, I feel like you didn't appreciate it, but maybe you kind of came around by the end, or you were just humoring me.
I think I was humoring you, but I've fallen down in our burgeoning friendship. I have not revisited it like I said I would, so I'm putting it on the list.
Yeah. So this is just like a very fun spy movie. I think it's based on a TV show from the 60s where the concept is a CIA agent from America working with a KGB agent from Russia. They have to kind of team up even though they're supposedly mortal enemies. So it has Henry Cavill. Armie Hammer plays the Russian agent.
Look at Armie Hammer sunning Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill's what, 6'1", 6'2"? Sunning him at 6'5". Look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So tall.
Yeah. And there's Alicia Vikander in it as sort of this East German woman helping them. And then Elizabeth Debicki is great as like sort of a villain, mysterious character they encounter.
And
So I
she's
mean, all
also
the
super tall
acting.
at 6'3", and I love the fact that she just
Yeah,
leans into it. Do not hide your light under a bushel, Liz. Go for it.
yeah,
Be tall. Wear your heels.
yeah. I didn't realize this is like the tall people's club, and Alicia Vikander is just like a normal person hanging out there.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember I liked it okay in the theaters, but the fact that you kind of caped up hard for it, I did kind of have to go with you a little bit. I thought it was kind of cute, but I will, do my part. I will go back to check it out. Let me see if I can find some actual. There we go.
I mean, the acting's very fun. It's very like campy, much less like taking itself seriously. Not like Bond. Um,
And I
there's
think
some
that's
great
probably
like
the big
dancing
issue I
scenes,
had with it when I
music.
saw it. I think let's jump in real
Yeah.
quick. I think that's the issue I had with it when I saw it was that I guess I was expecting something a little more hard boiled, and it was definitely a lot more campy and like, breezy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of sort of silly humor, kind of old style humor that probably came from the TV show. But I mean, they got some great settings. They're in East Germany. They're in Italy, driving around. There's some great boat scenes with like, I don't want to spoil it, but there's just a lot of antics going on.
All right. So I'll endeavor to rewatch it this week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's very silly and like fun, but not a Bond movie, I guess.
Oh shit, that's right. That was Hugh Grant too. Wow.
Oh yeah, he plays, I think, one of their bosses, one of the CIA guys or something.
Okay, all right.
I have no idea what the plot was. I have no memory of that. I mean, who knows? It's one of these things where like the stakes don't make any sense relative to like these zany people, going around on a Vespa. It's like nuclear annihilation is on the table or something, but it's one of those fun movies that for like a rainy afternoon.
All right, and I will end on a somewhat. So I was of two minds of this one. I actually did not pick the one I thought you were going to pick, which was Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll just throw that out there as an honorable mention because
I'd love to hear your criticism of that movie, which is great, but.
Well, I mean, I love how so many people in our online friend group are so passionate about it. And to me, it's not even like it was a bad movie. I just felt cold at the end because the movie is beautiful to look at. Yeah. Gorgeous. There's so much longing and desire between the looks. There's so much chemistry. Like, I get all of that. And I think the director, I forget her name, she was like, I think she either fell in love with or already was in a partnership with like the leading lady. Like they were like, together. So she was directing her girlfriend. Wow. Cool. Definitely set her up for success. But because there was an utter lack of a musical score, I had no idea how much this would weigh on me, but it did. And it is kind of, I mean, I was kind of shocked at how much it bothered me. But yeah, I mean, there's times where I really felt like this scene, in this utter stillness, the longing and the looking, or on this beautiful grassy plain overlooking a cliff and the sea, could have used a little Hans Zimmer, little well, maybe he's a little too bombastic, a little James Newton Howard, little something, So I don't know. That's my personal pet peeve, I guess. But instead of using that, although I'm surprised he didn't get there, I'm going to end with Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Ooh. Why not? French Riviera. Yeah. Steve Martin as a bit of a class clown. And I saw this in theaters probably a little bit before your time, because you're probably a good decade younger than me, but Dirty Rotten Scoundrels was a bit of a event movie. 88, definitely before your time. It was kind of an event comedy of the summer back in the 80s when you could have event comedies of the summer. I mean, now it's kind of less so. If you're lucky at best, you'll get like a super bad Dumped in August or something, or what was what they kept calling like the Girl Smart.
Booksmart?
Was it Booksmart? That's right, Girl Smart. Why? Terrible. Retract. Stricken from the record.
That would be more direct title. Yeah. It is exactly what it says. Girl Smart.
Girl Smart. That's the QAnon title for it. Anyways, Booksmart. You're lucky to get one of those late in the summer. But yeah, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I do remember seeing it in the theater. I do remember liking it. The whole connery of it all, the conning of it, and everything. And Michael Caine, Steve Martin, both super charming at the top of their game. Very funny too. I enjoyed it. And you saw the French Riviera, and especially back in '88. I guess I was about to summer '88, I guess it was 8th grade or something like that. I ain't been in the French Riviera. I'd barely been to sleepaway camp, so I was very fascinated with it all, and the whole conning and everything, and the long cons and the stylishness. It was a very fun movie, and it was funny. I really enjoyed it. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah, there's a ton of great movies that are sort of, maybe there's something about the French Riviera that like attracts con artists, but there's like a bunch of these movies that are just very fun. There's some French comedies that are like silly. It's a great setting because it's like the ultra rich who can be easily taken advantage of, I guess.
Now, did you see like the reboot? I don't think they called it Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. They called it something else, right? Like Dirty something or.
I don't
But the
know.
one with Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway.
Oh yeah, they did successful. Like a female version. Yeah. Not my favorite concept.
Girl Scoundrels. Yeah. No.
Yeah, Lady Scoundrels. I think it's like Hustlers or something.
Yeah.
Or the Hustle.
The Hustle.
Yeah. I did not see this one. I mean, I saw the trailer and I felt like I had seen enough. Sorry.
It had its moments. I mean, Anne Hathaway. I mean, people are of. Actually, let me ask you. You're of very discerning taste, and you are the other half of our cultural tether. What's your thoughts of Anne Hathaway as like an actress or a performer?
I think she's a good actress. I think that the whole backlash against her was kind of bizarre and didn't make that much sense. She's had some good movies. Sometimes she like leans too much into a type. So some of her better movies are like where she's playing against that, like in Ocean's 8, I want to say, the female one. She kind of was making fun of her own persona, which was good. I mean, she's got some great movies. Rachel Getting Married is like a really devastating movie I don't recommend, but that you can really see she can act. She's not just, vamping for the camera. So she's an interesting actress. I think she like her public persona got out of her own hands and kind of derailed her career a little bit.
No, I agree. Also the co-host of the Oscars of James Franco, which honestly isn't even so much her fault as in the producer's fault. I mean, it just wasn't like the greatest idea. Like she's game for anything. I mean, not as consistently convincing as say a Rachel McAdams, but she does at least put in the work. She tries. She's always very earnest, and I think one of the major criticisms of her, whatever, is that she gives off theater kid energy. And as and I have a drama degree, as well, and as a one-time theater kid or whatever, like I recognize it, and I don't shame her for it. I think it's fine. They want to do well. They want to entertain you. They're very Lin-Manuel Miranda about their shit, right? And so she's always very, she always wants to kind of entertain you. She's always game for anything. What's great is that she doesn't take herself too seriously, although it did seem like there was a time when the public perception of her did affect her career and in return kind of maybe affected the roles either she was offered or the roles she either did. I'm not sure. But I love her. I think she's great. I think she's an excellent Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman, in the wildly maligned. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, she was great in that.
I don't get. Help me understand. Maybe this. I mean, and not to cast aspersions of your quote unquote generation. I'm not even gonna be old man get off my lawn, but millennials are coming for Christopher Nolan. I don't understand it. I don't understand. Yeah. I think he's fine. I think he's great. He's done some of the most interesting, original IP that we've seen over the last 20 years, and I don't know. I just think he that whole trilogy is excellent. She's great in The Dark Knight Returns. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going in that whole trilogy, in that last episode of the trilogy. And I like Anne Hathaway. I saw this little scene movie called Havoc. I think it was back when Netflix was doing DVDs.
Mm-hmm. The good old days, as we call them.
Yeah, exactly, right. The good old days when I had a lot less to consume and I could actually catch up on some of the classics. I had a nice little run in like 2008 when I watched like My Girl Friday and North by Northwest and all these old films. Now I have no chance of getting caught up. But she was in Havoc and she was great in it. And younger me, very excited. She gets naked, she cusses, she rebels against authority. She's she's basically being a Kardashian-like appropriator. She's like trying to hang out with, like, I think Mexicans in LA or something like that. It's a very messy role, but I loved her for it. Like, okay, this is what you want to do with your your little bit of shine. I'm here for it. So she takes risks. I like her. I like Anne Hathaway. Dan didn't mean to turn this into a Anne Hathaway Stan podcast, but here we are, and we have successfully made it to our break. We are going to take a short break for those listening to the podcast. to bring those up to speed on our game, the Cinema Draft game, and the DraftStream alpha test game we're currently running, how it's played, and all about it. So for those of you listening at home, we'll be right back after this short message. For those of you watching, we'll be back before you know it. And we're back. All right. So our over-under has been mothballed still because we're not reopening theaters anytime soon, unless you're Tenet. And so we're going to go to our quarantine movie of the week instead. But before we do, actually, I was asking you about this off camera. What are your thoughts on this whole Tenet reveal today that they're coming back with a vengeance, but starting internationally?
I mean, having friends that are in Europe and seeing daily their vacation pictures and how they're like off in Capri having fun and whatnot. I think they should be rewarded for taking the virus seriously and getting under control. So, I mean, good for them. They can get to see Tenet. We don't deserve it. We don't deserve nice things. So that's kind of where I'm at.
True.
I mean, I'm not going to be there seeing it, so I'm happy for those other people.
Right. Well, and honestly, if you wanted to, no country will take us. I was reading about how Canada is, looking down at their nose at us now, and it makes me very, very sad. Okay, American exceptionalism, rah. All right, so our quarantine movie of the week last Wednesday was Patriot Games. Let me see if share my screen real quick. Was Patriot Games, the Harrison Ford thriller as Jack Clancy. It was fun. Have you seen Patriot Games, Kiska?
I do not think so, no.
Oh, okay. Well, it did come out, I guess, forever ago. And you had been very young when it came out. Basically,
this movie's right up my alley. I really should have seen this, but...
No, this one and Clear and Present Danger were great. Back in the day, especially when I was a burgeoning young writer, and I will say to this day that one of my early influences was, of all people, Tom Clancy, because he had highly descriptive books. Like, he was very much into details, usually about details that didn't really fucking matter, but he was very detailed. No, he once spent an entire chapter in The Sum of All Fears describing how a nuclear bomb detonates. I'm not making this up. Some 12 pages about it. I mean, what the fuck, right? But it's still, he was
I love that kind of detail in a book, actually. I'm kind of a nerd like that.
Well, be a nerd like that, but are you a scientist? I wasn't. I didn't necessarily need to know that this connects to this. It was wild. Anyways.
So that was not your favorite episode of Chernobyl either, when he explains exactly how the thing works?
Ongoing joke for those of you watching, listening, is that we are big Chernobyl stands over here. And anytime I say something, and Kiska right here is the #1 Chernobyl stand I know. It's not great, not terrible. When I say something's very Chernobyl, it means not great, not terrible, like the meme. Yeah, but Patriot Games you probably would have enjoyed. It had to do with the Irish Republican Army and stuff. Very 90s politics back when when there's a lot of, I think they're still undergoing what they call the Troubles, or their Northern Ireland, Protestants versus Catholics, occupying forces of the British, and fighting for independence, all that sort of stuff. And it hadn't made its way over here at all in the United States, but it was a big deal over there. And this movie dealt with the IRA on American soil, so it's kind of interesting. And I read all those books when I was growing up. I think Patriot Games might have been my first Jack Ryan novel. Read Clear and Present Danger, Sum of All Fears, all those books. So I was very excited to see this Jack Ryan. I did not read The Hunt for Red October, but that movie still slaps. Sub movies forever. I'm here for it. Anyways, that was last week's quarantine movie of the week. This week's is going to be Steve Jobs. By the time you guys watch or listen to this podcast, it will be Steve Jobs. And this is the Michael Fassbender one. The Aaron Sorkin written one, directed by Danny Boyle. So overlooked. It's a great script. It was a great. I think it was originally designed almost as a play or something. I remember hearing about the production. It wasn't a really big production per se, but it got a little pricey for what it was because it's very much of a talkative movie. Very much a Michael Fassbender showcase. And shout out to Michael Fassbender. Also, one of my boy Marty's former classmates at the London School of London Center of Drama or whatever. And he's just, he's on this. Very good Steve Wozniak, our boy Seth Rogen in the news today.
Yeah.
for admitting the obvious. And also, I thought Kate Winslet as as Steve Jobs' right-hand woman really holds it together. I mean, I thought it was criminally underseen. Have you seen this movie, Kiska?
I have not seen it. I sort of paid attention to the dialogue around it, and it seemed like one of these male genius movies, for lack of a better term, that I have mixed feelings about. I mean, they can be really well done. I think the fact that it came out at the same time as like another Steve Jobs movie didn't help it.
The worst
that
one,
much.
terrible one. Yeah, that
Yeah.
Ashton Kutcher. I remember seeing that in the movie theater because my friend made me go see it. She loves that. She loves Steve Jobs, so she dragged me to see it. I did not like that. I love this one. I think this is another one where a friend of mine slipped me the script before I saw it. I read the script, loved it, saw it, loved the movie as well. It deviated in some key spots, but it's a really good script. I mean, it's Sorkin.
Yeah.
And you're right, it is a male genius movie, but I mean, to the extent in so much that kind of like on Hamilton. No one's saying Hamilton was great as like a person, but
Yeah.
it was a great show to watch. This is a great he's a dick. There's almost no redeeming values of his portrayal of Steve Jobs in this movie. But it's just great dialogue. The tension between he and Woz is great, and how Kate Winslet's character truly holds together, and also the tension between Steve and totally ignoring his family. Oh my God!
Yeah.
There's that whole scene in the third act of the daughter being brought in and everything, which is totally kind of I don't know. If you had a chance to see it, watch. I think it's only about 90 minutes or so. It really goes by real quick. Very talkative, very walkie-talkie, very Sorkin-esque. So I think you'd like it.
Yeah. I'll check it out. I mean, it's not the fault of the movie that this is like a cliche and these people who become these huge stars of business and technology and stuff, that there's like this pattern of behavior of, not being there for your family, not being there for your friends and whatnot. So I don't know.
Right. And so be sure everyone to tweet me your tweet length review at our Twitter account at PlayCinemaDraft. Okay, time for our DraftStream update. This is probably where I'm going to lose you a little bit. It's fine. Feel free to look along. And feel free to play this week. It is free to play. Our spreadsheet sensation. Yes, we are hard at work in the lab trying to get this coded up for you. Yes, the mock-ups by our girl, Paula Kathuria. And I think she is playing again this week. I think she uses her name backwards. Really annoying. Anyways, she's going to be in the game this week, so make sure you holler at our girl, Pollock, who is designing up some good shit for us all so we can stop copying and pasting. But this is how it looked last week. Jaybird, our all-time DraftStream money leader, did a clean sweep, the top two spots, $35 for first, $15 for second, and he also got the low ball. For those of you who are new to the game, the low ball is when you're aiming for the lowest scoring call sheet in the group. You must have at least $75,000 in our $100,000 salary spend. You must have at least 3 actors from 3 different titles. And you also must have, of course, 1 headliner, 1 co-star, and 1 day player from these different movies. And so he did the clean sweep, all $60 to Jaybird. Second straight week, he has won the DraftStream game. The Canadian occupation is underway. Of course, Ontario's favorite Jaybird. And he did it on the strength of a diversified strategy. Headliner stack of Love on the Spectrum, headliner stack of Most Wanted, 3-pack of Signs, and headliner stack of The Doghouse, and threw a little headliner at The Rental. And it was a very surprising week for me because this was a week that, we had lower participation. We only had 11 call sheets turn out. I wasn't very excited about any of these damn shows. I think I only saw Fear City, New York versus the Mafia. It was pretty decent, but I was actually surprised on how well Love on the Spectrum did. And I think it's because it was a feel-good show from Australia dealing with a dating show of participants of people who are on the autistic spectrum who find love in these contrived reality TV ways. But I guess people loved it, so more power to it. So that was last week. This week, take a look at our draft pool, KSK. 15 hot ones, starting with your girl, Beyonce. Black is Kang.
Yeah, is anyone going to watch this? Who knows?
And are people going to rave about it? Who knows? But
I don't
yes,
know.
in
Take it or leave it.
yeah, right. This one with and I see someone's checking out. Very cool. Anonymous Buffalo, welcome. Parade, Get Even. These ones also are going to be rated pretty highly. The Umbrella Academy second season, and we are experimenting this week for you DraftStream enthusiasts. We're trying our hand on individual returning seasons of shows. It's gonna be a little bit tricky because sometimes you can't always get the separate data for it. As you can see, we have a sample size of over 100,000 who rated the first season of the Umbrella Academy. But as the new season rolls out, we will endeavor to get specialized season-specific ratings of this title. So when they start rating these seasons, we're going to see if we can get an aggregate average of these 10 episodes of the second season. Have you seen the Umbrella Academy, KSK?
No, but I've heard good things. I feel like I've said no to everything you've asked me, but I've heard it's really good.
Well, I mean, you know what? I mean, part of this is my job. I am, kind of underpaid at this point because we are a very much bootstrap startup to know about all these types of things. But that's the great thing about the DraftStream and Cinema Draft Games is movie discovery, content discovery. Every week we throw up 15 things you probably didn't know much about, and sometimes like Eurovision. If it weren't for ring balls and this game, I never would have checked out Eurovision. So.
Yeah, there's so much great stuff out there that you just have to find out about, like through some serendipity.
Well, I mean, that's true. But also I feel also one of the things we missed once we had to take down the original alpha test of the Cinema Draft game when, with the movies was we kind of missed, getting kind of hip to these really niche movies that made a big difference in the game. Sometimes it'd be, that Indian movie that, would only do about maybe, I don't know, 2 million at the box office, but would give you like 20 solid points in the Cinema Draft game. That it just exposed you to so much good stuff. And now, especially while we're all on lockdown, all in quarantine, or if we're doing it right, damn it, if you're not essential, stay your ass at home. We're all generally, confined to our quarters, and people who are, kind of getting cabin fever of stuff to watch. Great thing about DraftStream is every week we've got new good stuff for you to check out. I'm excited about The Real Housewives of Potomac season 5. Yeah. College of Girls. Have you seen this show?
Oh, of course I've seen this show. Come on.
Well, no,
I mean all the cities.
Well, I mean, I didn't know if you did all the cities. I'm very selective with my Real Housewives. I think I did one season of New Jersey a long time ago.
Oh God.
Didn't quite connect with me. But ever since I did Atlanta, I'm all in on Atlanta, on Potomac. Rest in peace, DC. If you only hadn't violated White House protocols, damn it, we probably could have gotten the second season.
Are you watching Beverly Hills? Garcelle is amazing, the new cast member.
I feel like I'm too late for that show. I mean, I don't know. I think honestly, I think anything with the reality shows with black women or black locales, I'm all in because I either know the places or I know the mentality, and I definitely love it. Like Married to Med, I'm all on Married to Med. Those ladies. But yeah, Potomac's coming back. I actually, I said this in the group chat today. I actually rewatched, or I was watching the How We Got Here of the the recap of the previous 4 seasons as if I needed one, right? So that was cool. Anyways, so they're coming back, but I think this will be a player on Sneak Tip. Take a quick look at the salaries. Obviously, Beyonce, Black is King, the highest salaried actor in the talent pool this week. Respect. All hail Queen Bee. Her husband, Jay-Z, $300 behind. And Pharrell as a $17,800 day player as your cheapest one of that for Black is King. Your second highest, I did go with the Umbrella Academy. If you've got built-in audience, built-in fan appreciation, if it holds up, I think we're going to make you pay to get those points. Easily going to be over 100 to start. Probably going to end up around 110 points. In case you're not aware, we do a weighted scoring system over here where your total score is a combined weighted average of Rotten Tomato critic score, Google user score, Metacritic critic score, and IMDb user score. And the way that goes is that we give extra weight, 60% bonus to the user scores because the audience is king. So sometimes you can have a lightly regarded Rotten Tomatoes critic score and Metacritic score, but the audiences go ham, and that ends up saving the score. So sometimes, like last week we had, the Kissing Booth too. 27 on Rotten Tomatoes, damn it. 39 on Metacritic, for crying out loud. But 6.1 and 91% on Google. So sometimes that can salvage a score and your call sheet. So we'll be looking out for that this week. Oh, what is this? This is the, okay, so we'll be looking out for that this week. Black is King might be pricey. Might have to work around it. I might have some exposure to that. Definitely the Umbrella Academy. And I think our sleeper, salary-wise, as far as bang for the buck, is going to be the Real Housewives. Karen, I mean, you know Karen had to be the top headliner. You know that, right?
Yeah, obviously.
She would have pitched fit otherwise. Her and Giselle battling for housewife supremacy on Potomac. I'm excited. I'm very ready for this show. I think you might get some good value here, 11,600, 11,500 for your headliners. And of course, your headliners, you get a 40% bonus as a headliner and a 20% bonus as a co-star. So you might want some Ashley Darby, some Robin Dixon in the mix. Monique, and looking at the preview for this season, Monique, she's on one this season. So I'm looking forward to this season. Very much so. So check it out, everyone. Get in your call sheets. It is free to play, of course. $50 prize pool, $35 to first, $15 to second, and we have a $10 lowball bonus if you go by our lowball rules. Make sure you check out all the rules here and your guide video on how to perfect your call sheet. All right, so it is time to bring this sucker in for a landing. Thank you so much. You know, give yourself a hand, Katherine. Thanks for coming to the shenanigans. You're welcome back anytime. My Teds.
Thank you for having me. My first podcast.
What's that? I'm sorry?
It's my first podcast, so thank you.
Oh, you know what? I feel so honored. Thank you for letting us be your first. You always remember your first time, damn it. And this is about the time where I actually ask my guests if they have anything to plug, to go ahead and plug yo-ish.
I have literally nothing to plug. I work in educational publishing, so if you speak English already, you're not interested in the products that I work on.
Oh, no. Well, is there a favorite show of yours that you wish more people were watching?
Ooh, I mean, The Great is pretty good. I feel like more people should be watching that and talking about it. And I May Destroy You, we talked about already. If you haven't checked it out, you should look.
Okay, nothing to plug. All right, excellent. Well,
Sorry.
thanks for coming on the show. I love it. Or regular people, damn it. Regular people are always welcome to the Cinema Draft podcast. We're all just people out here trying to do our best in the middle of the pandemic. As per previous times, I normally say go out and see a movie or something, but damn it, don't do that. No. Quarantine with a movie or something, damn it. Got a lot of great options. Steve Jobs this week, everybody. Watch that movie. Stay inside. Be safe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week with another great guest. Our boy, Marty from Glasgow. Aye, laddie. We'll be back. Thanks to Katherine Klagsbrun for playing, for watching. And we'll see you back here next week on the Cinema Draft podcast. Take care. And, of course, my video's out. Thank you, everybody. We're out.